The moment James Harden called Daryl Morey a liar, their season was basically over. I mean, you don't trade your second best player from last year for spare parts and get better. But Daryl Morey had a plan. He dealt Harden for 4 players in control of 2 first and 2 second-round picks. And all those players' contracts were about to run out. So this offseason, they have a ton of cap space for a superstar. Except Tyrese Maxey had to sacrifice. He just put in 3 years of work, jumped to an all-star level for his second contract. That's when guys go from life-changing money to generational wealth. So Morey went to Maxey and said, yo, I know you're set to get paid, but can you wait 1 more year? What? Anything could happen. I mean, Maxey could tear his Achilles. He could get hit by a car. And Harden just called Morey a liar. You gonna trust him? But Maxey said, okay, I will stay at a role player salary for the team. So now they have almost $65 million for a star. Then pay Maxey. Imagine if they could replace Tobias Harris's $40 million with a guy who, I don't know, doesn't score 0 points game 6 against the Knicks. Joel Embiid is the only MVP to never make a conference finals. So if healthy, he could finally get there to win a chip. But it's not that simple. When the Sixers go looking for stars, here's what they find. The NBA playoffs are here, and I am loving playing underdog. If I was in Florida, I would be playing Champions, their brand new 1v1 format. I'm in Texas, so I love Pick'em. You can up to 20x your money. You just pick higher or lower in your favorite players, whatever game you're gonna watch that night. Let me give you my 2 picks. First up is Andrew Nembhard. His points, rebounds, and assists. We're gonna go higher. I think he's gonna play well, even on the road here in game 1. And then Karl Anthony Towns, also on the road. His points gonna go higher. I think after Anthony Edwards game 1, he is gonna get doubled. Cat will have opportunity. And best of luck if you were tailing those picks. By the way, this map shows an updated area of where underdog is available. But if you sign up with code AMHOOPS, starting May 9th, you get a special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. That is huge. It is promo code AMHOOPS. Superstars this offseason are LeBron James and Paul George. Stars, Pascal Siakam and James Harden, yeah, right. And below that, OG Anunoby. That's it. Pascal and OG definitely going to re-sign with their teams. Harden, obviously not. So that leaves LeBron and PG. Now you see why Brian Windhorst said, Paul George is their #1 target. You mean their only target? But how do they land him? Well, Kawhi Leonard locked in with the Clippers for 3 more years during the season. At the time, everyone thought PG would re-up too, but he didn't. Is he looking for the most money now, or does he want to win? PG led the Pacers to back-to-back conference finals in his early 20s. He then goes to OKC and loses in the first round with Russ. And now in LA, dude is paired with Kawhi, who lets him down. Once again, Kawhi went missing this year in the most important spot. Mavs win in 6. So maybe George says, hey, if I'm in Philly, we definitely beat the Knicks with a path to the finals. The only problem is Joel Embiid's health, the Kawhi Leonard of the East. It is going to be a real tough sell to ask PG to team up with another injured star teammate. So imagine if Paul George re-signs with the Clippers, LeBron remains a Laker. It'll probably happen. I could easily see Paul George using this Philly pressure as leverage to squeeze a max contract out of Steve Ballmer and the Clippers. What does Philly do at that point? Well, one option is to use all the money to sign elite depth. Free agent role players this summer are Klay Thompson, KCP, DeMar DeRozan, Miles Bridges, Malik Monk, Tyus Jones, Nick Claxton, Bruce Brown. That's not a bad list. Or they could re-sign their own free agents like Kyle Lowry, Kelly Oubre, and Nick Batum. But what Embiid wants is a star. And there is one other way to get him. They could trade for a star into their cap space. That way, they don't have to send anything back. Other teams might love that. They would have a disgruntled star and trade him out for a cheap and clean cap sheet. It's a win-win. So Windhorst also said they will monitor both Jimmy Butler and Brandon Ingram's situations. Embiid's favorite teammate, Jimmy Buckets. The worst decision Philly made outside of drafting Markelle Fultz #1 was choosing Ben Simmons over Jimmy. Back in 2019, they got Butler from the Timberwolves and were one Kawhi bounce away from the conference finals. They thought Ben Simmons had the higher ceiling than Jimmy Butler, and it ruined them. Ben broke down, and Jimmy made 2 NBA finals in Miami. Now, Butler might be available again. The Athletic says there are signs the Jimmy Butler in Miami era could be nearing a tipping point. Butler wants a max 2-year extension from the Heat, but Butler famously does things his way, and Miami's organization famously does not brook much individualism. Heat culture's got parameters and expectations. And I get it. The Heat aren't used to guys who talk trash like Jimmy Butler.
Video this. You got it?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, action. If I was playing, Boston would be at home. New York, damn sure would be at home. Josh Hart. That mean to me. Josh Hart.
Oh, Joel Embiid would love that talk. But Miami might be ready to move on after a first-round exit. I know Jimmy was injured, but they were the 8th seed this year. A big problem is his age. Jimmy turns 35 before next season. Only a desperate team would give him a max contract. Like the Sixers, what else are they going to do? Sign Clay and DeMar DeRozan? But haven't we seen this before? Embiid, Maxey, and Butler, 3 guys on a max contract. How is that different than Devin Booker, KD, and Bradley Beal in Phoenix? They had so little depth it was awful. Well, there is one big difference for Philly. Because they have a league-high 12 free agents, they have enough money to give out a max contract and get depth. It's a dream situation. If it wasn't for the one problem no one talks about. People are afraid to say that Joel Embiid hasn't made a conference finals because he actually isn't that good in the postseason. When we talk playoff disappointments like James Harden and Russell Westbrook, is Joel Embiid in that category? I think he is so likable to fans and the media, people refuse to admit it. Remember the famous Ben Simmons passed up dunk against the Hawks? What did Embiid do in that Game 7? Oh, he put up 31 points, 11 boards, but in the final minutes, in a 3-point game, he misses with John Collins guarding him. Then, under a minute to play, turns it over, which leads to a bucket on the other end for Atlanta. And one last-ditch effort in a 5-point game just chucks up a missed 3. The next season, they went up 3-0 against the Raptors in round 1, but it took 3 games to finally put them away. And because of that, Embiid was even more banged up, missed the first 2 games in the next round. Last year, they were up 3-2 on Boston, leading in the 4th quarter at home, and Embiid doesn't touch the ball the final 5 minutes. I know you could blame Doc Rivers, but do you think other stars would stand for that? And in Game 7, James Harden got all the crap, but Embiid had 15 points, 8 boards, and shot 28% from the field. Look, I am not an Embiid hater. I like the guy a lot, but the numbers aren't pretty. For his career, 4th quarter of a playoff game, Embiid averages 5 points, 2 boards, and an assist, but he shoots just 41% from the field, 21% from 3. Compare that to other killer stars of this era, and that's terrible. Did you know Joel's MVP season? He dropped from 33 points per game to 23 in the playoffs. The biggest dip of any MVP ever. So there is a lot of pressure right now in Philly. Daryl Morey has to get these moves right. If he doesn't, he could get fired. Joel Embiid is running out of chances. If he doesn't win, there is a great chance he doesn't end his career in Philadelphia. But it will be fun watching him put it all together. Now, one center who is on the come up is Victor Wembanyama. His offseason is crazy as well. ESPN reported on what the Spurs are actually going to do, and to be honest, Wemby's teammates should be scared.